Hi there, it's Nicole for Lawn Fawn, and today my card share showcases the new Year 6 mini stamp set and coordinating die, and it's this darling little oyster shell and the birthday sentiment with the little be a little shellfish sentiment underneath it, which I find absolutely incredible. I love the little play on words, and I think Lawn Fawn does such an excellent job with those kinds of cute little play on words or puns. I die cut a frame from smooth white cardstock using one of the stitched circle frame dies, and then the inside piece here I stamped the great little ocean border there from one of Lawn Fawn's stamp sets. I am using a bunch of them. They are all linked underneath here, the video on YouTube. They are linked on my blog as well, but I tried to kind of incorporate several different ocean themed stamp sets for my card today. I've stamped the oyster on a scrap of smooth white cardstock, and I'm coloring it in with Copic markers. Everything I'm using here today is colored with Copic markers. The colors I'm using are shown across the bottom of the screen. The inside of the shell I tried to do a little different, so it's got a much lighter aqua color, and then I'm blending in some purple, or the BVs are kind of the blue violet, but very, very light purple. Darkening up some of the areas also helps kind of make that inside of the shell a little more highlighted, I guess, so that you can really see the difference from the outside to the inside. You could color this any color you want. I tend to gravitate towards these aquas because I think they're so pretty, and I thought that they would be a nice complement to the other images I plan on using with this. I feathered in that kind of purple color, and then I'm going to color in that little oyster with the same colors actually that I used for the sand. I thought they were a nice light color, only using the darker color, the E43, just a tiny bit near the bottom, and then a little pink for the cheeks for that fun, whimsical touch. I'm also going to stamp the great little seaweed images from the Fantastic stamp set and color those in with some Copic markers. I think those are actually the colors I used are going to be shown here in just a second. I ran out of room across the bottom of the screen with the colors I used for my oyster. There are the yellow-green colors I used for the seaweed. I'm going to use all the coordinating dies now and die cut these images. Oh, actually, I did stamp the sand along the bottom there on some masking paper first. Cut that out, and I'm going to mask off the sand. And using Lawn Fawn dye inks and foam ink blending tools, I'm going to blend these colors together for my ocean first. You could definitely use distress ink if you wanted to, but I wanted to show that you absolutely can do this with regular dye inks. It might take a tiny bit more work to get the blending that you want, but I have found with dye inks, as that ink is absorbed into the paper and dries, they blend out really smooth and nicely. So while it looks a little messy and bad right now, I am going to keep working on blending the fish tank and deep sea Lawn Fawn colors together. Once I get those really good and blended, you can see in the finished card that a lot of those maybe kind of ink tool marks, the foam marks, disappear. This is a card that kind of developed as I went along. I had a general idea of the images I wanted to use, but I colored a few at a time and kind of added to the scene as I went, just because I didn't know how much room I was actually going to have and how everything would look as I was building my scene. So I've got my oyster, I've got the seaweed, and then I went ahead and decided I needed some coral. The smaller one here that I'm coloring in with reds is from the Fantastic stamp set. The one that I'm going to color next in shades of orange is actually from the Critters in the Sea, I believe, stamp set. It is one of the very first Lawn Fawn stamp sets I ever purchased, and I love that the look of the images has not changed. you are able to incorporate almost every Lawn Fawn stamp set, different images from different stamp sets together, and they work seamlessly. I love that about the Lawn Fawn brand. Once these two images are colored in and I've blended it all out and finished my coloring, again, I'm going to go ahead and die cut these as well. I know a lot of times if you follow me, you probably notice I color everything, I die cut it all, and then I put it together. This was just one of those times where I really felt like I needed to build it a little bit at a time. I wasn't exactly sure the direction I was going. So once I kind of had some of these elements down, I'm adding some black to the eyes on my oyster. Then I am adding some little dots to the sand. I went over or right next to the black dots in the sand with a white opaque pen, and then I'm taking a Stardust glitter pen and adding some more dots, and that's going to help give that really sandy kind of look. I'm going to use a powder tool. You've probably noticed that the ink, like I was talking about earlier, has blended out as it's dried. But I'm going to use the powder tool because I'm going to stamp my greetings from the Year 6 stamp set and sprinkle on some white embossing powder because I'm going to be embossing this so that it really pops against that blue background. Just tapping off the excess there. I started with the Be a Little Shellfish, and then I'm going to gradually work my way up. So next I am going to use the word birthday. Sorry, I got my head in the way because I wanted to make sure I lined that up perfectly. Again, I'm going to sprinkle on my white embossing powder so that I can see exactly where I've been. And I'll finish with the last part of the greeting that says, "It's your." I love that you're able to build lots of different greetings with the Lawn Fawn stamp set. You could definitely leave off part of the greeting if you don't want to use it all. It's completely up to you. I've heat set my greeting now, and I'm going to go ahead and lay out the stamped, colored, and die cut images I have so far because I want to add some little water bubbles. These again are from the Fantastic stamp set. I am using the Versamark ink again and the white embossing powder, and I did go ahead and attach a couple of my images first that I knew exactly where I wanted them to go. Start building that up just a little bit. So I've got two of these attached, and then I need to figure out where I want to put the little water bubbles. I think they're always a great finishing touch to any ocean scene. Stamped with Versamark, I'm going to sprinkle on that white embossing powder and then heat set that. There's also a single bubble, and I am going to use that one as well as the smallest bubble from this little trio of bubbles I just used up near the top to kind of finish that off. Once I have all my images attached to my card design, I am going to fill all those in with glossy accents. So I'll go ahead and add the coral. Just trying to figure out how I best want to attach all of these pieces, and I really kind of moved them around a lot. I couldn't figure out the best way to attach my orange and red coral. Ended up moving that orange back away, a little further away, and doing the red next to my little oyster clamshell. I'm using mini glue dots to attach all of these. They're pretty small images, and I love these mini glue dots. They're a nice, secure adhesive, and they work great on these small images. Now I think I need a couple more small images for my little scene here. So I'm going to go ahead and fill in the bubbles with glossy accents so that dries while I work on stamping and coloring a couple more little pieces. I did fill in my clamshell with the Wink of Stella clear glitter brush pen as well for a little bit of glitz and glimmer. I'm going to color in the rock images from the Fantastic stamp set with some browns. And then I've got a little seashell as well that I'm going to color in with some yellows, a little bit of brown, and then a little bit of violet as well. Add a little dot detail with my E55 marker just to add some nice texture. Die cut that with the coordinating die and then attach that to my card. I have die cut an additional frame from some black cardstock using that stitched frame die, and then I've got a note card that is 4 1/4 inches square. And I attach some nice strong adhesive to my note card. I'll center my little birthday underwater scene right to my card, and I'm going to take a glue pen and draw all the way around my circle with that thin line of glue, and I'm going to attach that white frame that I die cut originally with this inside circle piece. Just press that down in place really good, and then I'm going to draw another line of glue, or kind of a squiggly line, all the way around this circle, and that's just going to build up my frame just a little bit so that it's framed up a little bit better. And I will go ahead and attach my black cardstock frame on top of this. Make sure that it's exactly where it's supposed to go. Hold it down for a minute so that it's nice and secure. And I'm going to finish by rounding all 4 corners with a 1/2 inch corner rounder. And my birthday themed underwater ocean card is all finished. Thanks for joining me for this Lawn Fawn Year 6 card showcasing the new stamps and dies. The supplies I've used are listed and linked below the video on YouTube. Here are a couple more ocean or water themed cards you might be interested in. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.